Hey guys, what's up everybody? Happy Monday. Happy Ham Radio Monday. This is May 26, 2023. No, June 26, 2023. Man, what am I? I'm a month off. I'm like a month off. Man, I don't know where I've been. Anyway, guys, well, today's topic, today's agenda, we're going to be talking about DMR, what DMR is, how DMR got started. We're going to be talking about the super affordable. And I don't mean 5, 10. I'm talking radios under $100, or in the $100 price range. Okay, I'm talking about that. Okay, things like the GD77, the GD77S if you don't want a keypad. I'm gonna be talking about the UV3 MD UV380, aka RT3S. This little guy right here. But I'm going to talk about, I'm going to get started today, and I'll be having links at the end of this video. You guys can learn about ham radio, get started in ham radio. One of the main things I recommend you do, there's an app called Ham Radio Prep. You can find it in your Apple iStore or Google Play. Go ahead, get started, read your material, and then, study for that technician license. So that's what I'm going to say about that. I've talked enough about ham radio licenses. Now we're going to get into what DMR is. So you guys are scratching your heads, probably wondering, what is this DMR? What is Old Blind Sunny? What is Chris talking about? So let's get started. Let's get into it. So again, this is Chris, aka Old Blind Sunny. My amateur call is Kilo Charlie 7, Uniform Delta Hotel. Today we're going to be talking about DMR. DMR handhelds. Very affordable DMR handhelds. I'll name a few. So we're going to be talking about what is DMR. DMR stands for Digital Mobile Radio. Now, did ham radio, was it really started in amateur radio? No, because amateur radio just adopted it. DMR has been in commercial use. It's been in the commercial realm since 2005. Okay, ham radio just barely started adopting it. Okay, so if you've ever been around, if you've ever been in schools and they've had monitors in the halls, or if they had janitors, and you see little handhelds, well, those are more likely Motorola. And the reason why, Motorola was the first to introduce DMR. Okay, again, ham radio did not. The oldest ham radio digital service is D-Star. That has been around since the 90s, so that's a old timey. And they don't. I did a video on D-Star. Go back and watch it. I made my first D-Star contact on video. Haven't done a DMR contact yet because I got to do a code plug. We're going to talk about code plugs too in this video. So DMR. So DMR versus D-Star. D-Star is basically where you just link to a reflector or unlink to a reflector, unlink from a reflector, whatever you want to do. DMR, they have what are called talk groups. What's a talk group? Well, it's like a big room where you could hear everybody, like a big old party line. Remember the day? I don't know if anybody remembers the chat line days where you get on the phone and it'd be like you would have a number to call and you'd hear all these different rooms, like chat rooms. Well, same thing with DMR. Now, there's 3 different types of calls. There's group call, private call, and all call. Now, all call is something different. I have no need to screw with that. But group call or private call. So private call is basically if you want to talk to a specific. So I'm gonna talk about. Yeah, I'm gonna use this in a commercial standard. Then I'll get into more ham radio. So group call. You work for a trucking company, of course. Some of y'all don't drive. Maybe some of y'all are truckers, but hey, all right. So you all work in a trucking company, all right. So you got 14. You got 1,000 trucks on the road. Well, the base has a dispatch. Well, a group call, you could have truck to truck. You could have truck to dispatch, and they're on a DMR repeater. DMR versus analog. Analog is where you have that little cute squelch tail, Once you key up, you hear the. Well, DMR is not like that. You don't hear nothing. But in the CPS, And the code plug, you could set DMR beat where you could have the beginning and the receiving. I mean, the beginning and the ending beat. So basically, when you're done, you hear the beep, or if you go to key up, you hear a. But that's DMR. Okay, we don't use that now. There are certain options for commercial use. So some radios have a feature called Lone Worker, which I'm not going to use that because that's not for amateur. That's more for if you're alone and a robbery happens and it's going to automatically send an alarm if you don't transmit. And then it's going to key up automatically and have a open mic that way, and then help will arrive. We don't use that in amateur radio. We're not going to use it in ham radio. So I'm gonna show y'all how to program a DMR radio using CPS, especially for all you blind people, all the blind people out there want an accessible blind ham radio. Yep, that's gonna happen. That can happen in this CPS. I'm going to show you guys exactly what it is, what the CPS is. I'm going to have you guys look at it. Even if you hear my NVDA, right now I got my NVDA in my earpiece because I don't have no need for it right now because I'm not doing any gaming. I'm not going to any websites. I'm just talking today specifically DMR handhelds, okay? The affordable DMR handhelds. So, so back in 2005, DMR was native commercial. It was natively commercial. Ham radio adopted it not too long ago. It was maybe 2015 ham radio got into it, DMR. And it's been now DMR is going to be the upstanding digital mode. The biggest D Star and DMR are going to be the two upstanding modes that I see for years to come. Amateur, more and more hams are going to get on board with DMR. And the biggest thing with DMR, you have to. So here's the deal: when you get licensed and you get your amateur call sign, you have to have a DMR number. A DMR number. What does that mean? Well, you have to have a radio ID. Okay, it's just like having a phone number. So a 7-digit phone number, mine is 317-8710, with my call, KC7UDH. So basically, how you get a DMR ID? After you get your license and get your call sign, you're gonna want to go to your FCC. You want to have proof. So you want to go to the SEC license page, and you want to go get your whole license certificate online. Download it, and then you submit it to radioid.net. That's where you get your DMR ID. You want to go to radioid.net, sign up, put in your call sign, upload a file of your license, and then boom, probably maybe an hour, 15 minutes, you're going to have a DMR, what's known as a DMR ID. You know, boom. That is the thing that identifies your radio. That recognizes, oh wow, okay, this is old Blind City. This is Chris. I see his DMR ID 3178710. And that's a radio ID. All DMR radios have that. Versus D-Star, you just get on the air and you have your call sign crawling across the screen on somebody's display, on somebody's radio, right? Well, not with DMR. DMR, you have their call sign, you have their DMR ID, and you have their name. So now the only thing I got to figure out is I got the radio talking. So we're going to talk about DMR handhelds, such as this little guy. Whoops. We're going to talk about this little guy. Okay. And let me make sure I got this. So this is the Redivus RT3S, also known as the MDUV380. These are the same kind of radio, same kind of chip. Okay, shush. Error receive only. I hear you. So if we go through our menus, we have zone, contacts, channel details, RSSI, firmware info, options, last heard, radio information, satellite, GPS, and back to zone. So it does wrap. The menus wrap. Okay, can't do nothing with that. I got to figure out how to get rid of that as receive only. So that's the RT3S. There are other DMR radios that are way more out of our budget. Let's talk the Anytone 868, 878 UV Plus, about $314. But we're going to talk about the affordable DMR radios that are that we can make blind accessible. Okay, So what I'm gonna do in this video, I'm gonna go show you. I'm gonna go over here. Okay, I got my NVDA running. I'm gonna go open up the OpenGD77 CPS. What does CPS stand for? Well, it stands for Customer Program Software.
Desktop, OpenGD, OmegaCert, OpenGD77 CPS.
Which one? We don't want to do it?
Tree view.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well. Well, I'm doing, okay, I'm doing a video. Okay, guys, so I'm in my OpenGD77 CPS software, and it says, that's okay, babe, we're fine. Okay, so you get it. All right, fine. Anyway, so tree view. All right, so where's our tree view? What do we have in this tree view? Well, come on.
OpenGD7. File collapsed.
Okay, so we have file. Basically, what it is for new code plug. Are you going with him? Oh, your mom and dad's going? Okay, good. So we have file,
Setting collapsed.
setting,
Program collapsed. View collapsed.
view,
Radio type
radio type
collapsed.
collapsed,
Extras collapsed.
extras,
Language collapsed. Window collapsed.
window collapsed,
About.
File
Collapsed Alt plus
and
F.
and it wraps. Okay, what's the file for? The file is used for a code plug. Okay, when you make a new code plug. Now we in the file
New control
we have
plus
new.
N.
So if you want to create a new code plug,
Save control plus
Save.
S. Open control
Open.
plus O.
so if you want to open it, you can open your code plug, save your code plug.
CSV collapsed.
CSV. Let's see what the CSV is.
Exit. CS. Export to CSV
Export to
control
CSV,
plus E.
Control E.
Setting expanded.
Setting.
Boot DMRID. Boot screen.
Boot screen.
DMRID and call sign.
DMRID and call sign. This is very, very important. So boot screen, you could basically turn on your radio and it will show a boot logo. DMRID and call sign is very, very, very important. You want this in your radio. This is what's gonna. You want this in your code plug because it's gonna tell the radio. It's gonna recognize the radio and when you key up, it's gonna see your ID and your call sign.
Band limits.
Band limits.
Program expanded.
Whoops.
Setting expanded.
All right.
DMR. Boot band limits.
Band limits.
DTMF settings.
DTMF settings. We're not gonna worry about that. That's more for analog.
Contact collapsed.
Contact collapse.
TG lists.
TG list. That's talk group list.
Zone collapsed.
Zone.
Channels.
Channels.
VFOS collapsed.
VFOs.
Boot screen.
Boot screen. And it wraps. All these things wrap. So we're going to go into
Program expanded.
program expanded.
Read control.
So basically you could read
Write control
or you
plus
could
W.
write. Okay, so you could read or write. So if you've done a code plug, so I'm going to close this out.
Dialog. Do you want to save the
No,
cancel button?
I don't want to save
No
it.
button alt pressed.
All right, I'm going to
Desktop
close
list.
this.
OpenGD77 CPS.
Back here.
Select synthesis. No speech. Windows 1 micro. No speech. Windows 1 core. Audio output. Headphone.
Okay, I'm back with my NVDA. So that was the CPS, OpenGD77 CPS, that where you can make changes in your code plug. Now, we have an option to make the radio blind friendly. Everybody's talking, oh, how can you be a ham if you're blind? You can't see the radio. Well, duh. It's called voice prompt. So in that OpenGD77 CPS, we have either male or female voice prompts. I have it set. Let's look at it again, even though it's going to say receive only. I have it set. As a male voice. Now, you could set it as a female voice, but I don't like that personally. Your voice, the male voice is really, really good to understand. I kind of want to change the English, British. I like the British accent. Don't get me wrong. I kind of want to change that to U.S. English, but maybe there's not a way to do that in the Open GD77 CPS. I don't know, but Yeah, if you want to, and next part, I'm gonna actually show you how to program the RT3S. We're gonna start from the square one. We're gonna reformat. We're gonna restore Flash. We're gonna put the stock firmware before we do the OpenGD77, and we're gonna do a video on that. That's probably gonna come next week once I get everything. So you might be asking yourself, what's he talking about code plugs? Well, code plugs are simply files for the radio. In your code plug, you'll have channels, zones, talk groups, or no, talk groups, channels, and zones. Okay? Well, you're scratching your head. We went over talk groups. They're just basically rooms. So if you're on YSF, Fusion, CF, C4FM, or if you're on wires, that's the same thing kind of as DMR, but it's another digital mode. It's almost similar to D-Star. Okay? So you're wondering, what's a code plug? Well, it's basically a digital file. A file that basically, a CSV file you could put into your radio, and it tells the radio, okay, well, there's these talk groups, there's these channels, and there's these zones. Well, what are zones? Zones are different like folders. They're like folders pretty much. They really are. And you could have a zone for Brandmeister. You could have a zone for TGIF. You could have a zone for analog repeaters. So, there's a lot of analog stuff. So, like, you know, uh, let's go. Um, let's look at. Okay, let me pop over here real quick. We're gonna do another thing. We're gonna look at repeater book. Yeah. Whoops. Come on. All right. I'm gonna bring up repeaterbook.com right quick.
New tab. Repeaterbook.com selected.
Here we go.
Repeaterbook
Repeater book.
button got it.
Click that.
List with 3 items. Link forgot your username. Link create an account. Out of list button log in.
Log in. They want us to log in. All right.
Repeaterbook.com user profile document. Main landmark. Call sign star edit required.
KC7UDH.
Password star edit protected. Remember login button. List with 3 items. Forgot your password.
Yep.
Repeaterbook.com user profile.
All right.
Banner landmark visited link graphic repeat. Heading level 3 main menu. Menu item nodes bullet menu item u.s. Out of menu bar. Link graphic appears. Link graphic Google Play. Please enter the email address for your account. Have received the verification code. You will be able to choose a new password. Please enter the email address for your account.
Let's see if it lets us do it.
A verification code will be sent to you. Once you have received the verification code, you will be able to choose a new password for your account. Email address star. Edit require. Email address.
I'm gonna get my password. Whoops.
IAMG.
G.
Recaptcha grouping. I'm not.
Okay.
Privacy terms. Submit button.
There we go.
Repeaterbook.com user profile.
All right.
Banner land. Username. Edit username. Password. Edit username. Username.
What did it do? Hold on.
Checkbox not checked. Remember me. Button login. List with 3 items. Link create. Link forgot. Visited link forgot. Out of list. Heading level 3 main menu. Main menu item nodes out of menu bar. Main landmark heading level 4 notice. If the email address you entered is registered on this site, you will shortly receive a link to reset the path. An email has been sent to your
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna mute. I won't be back.
Select Synthesize Audio Headphones.
Okay, guys, we're back. I'm going to close this out because it wants to be stupid. Let me go clear this out here. Don't need that. All right, let's see if we're still recording here. All right, we're good. So basically, I was going to show you guys a repeater book, but I'm not worried about it. I can't find the email to change my password, so I'm not worried about it. A repeater book is basically a site that you could look up. I prefer to use it on my phone. You could put it on your phone or your whatever. And it shows all the different repeaters, even DMR repeaters and D-Star repeaters. And it's going to show on DMR, it's going to show CC1 time slot 2, TS2. Well, what is color code? What is CC and time slot or TS? You guys are wondering, I'm speaking all this jargon, and you guys are probably wondering, what does that mean? What is he talking about? He knows so much. He's more technical. He's way technically advanced than I am. Simple. Color code. CC is color code. Now, what's a color code? Color code is the uh, kind of the same thing as for what an analog repeater would have. Analog repeaters have PL tones. Okay. For instance, my local repeater here in Catalina is 147.160 with a PL tone of 141.3, and it's minus 5, minus 6, plus 6. Now, what does that mean? Well, if 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 a 2 meter repeater is 147 or 146, that means it's plus 6 kilohertz. If it's a 70 centimeter, aka UHF repeater, 448, 445, any of those, that's going to be minus 5 kilohertz. Okay? So, whenever I say, here's an example, another example. So, uh, K7 OEM, Mount Lemon, another Mount Lemon repeater, 146.880 plus 6 kilohertz with a positive offset. It has a PL tone of 110.9. This is analog. Now, if you're on DMR, it's going to show DMR, oh, I'm just going to throw something out, 145.250. And it's going to have color code 1, which is your, and then your time slot. Now, what is time slot? First of all, let's talk about uh, D, uh, uh, DTMA. That means digital time, uh, whatever the MA stands for, but it's a thing with DMR. There's two different time slot 1 and time slot 2. That basically means that you can have two conversations on the same repeater but on different time slots. So you could listen to two different conversations at once. All right? Most radios have talk around. What's talk around? Talk around basically is if you're on a DMR and you got severe weather coming and you want to hear what's on the say 147.16. I'm going to use that for it. So if we had severe weather coming, and since I'm a weather skywarn spotter, if I tune to 147.16 and I'm hearing where there's severe weather, if there's tornadoes or really big thunderstorms, I'm going to want to hear that. Now, here's the deal: if I'm talking to my buddy K9LWL, or if I'm talking to N8LN Terry up in where's 8 Ohio area, well, of course, I could talk to them, but at the same time, I could hear what's going on with the 1.6. I could hear what's going on in Tucson. If we got rotation, if we got wall clouds or shelf clouds, or we're gonna have a tornado warning or a tornado watch because of funnel clouds, right? So that is what talk around is useful for. It's basically if you're talking to a buddy on DMR and you're hearing another repeater, that's what talk around's for, and it's good for that. So guys, that's my little agenda today for DMR. And I want to talk about. Um, I don't want to really go on Amazon. I don't really. Oh man, I don't want to say it. I don't want to go on the A because, for one, my speaker will interrupt it. Number two, I don't think I remember my password. And number three, I think I could just do it on my phone. So if you go on a.com, I'm not going to say it because my speaker will wake up. I don't want it woke up right now. I want to be playing my puggy music. So if you go on that website and do a search, this is everybody's homework. All right. We're going to talk about DMR handhelds. Now, for blind people, it's good to have a handheld. Now, why is it good to have one? You could be in the store. Two, and we're going to talk about hotspots in this video too. We're going to talk about what a hotspot is. So, a hotspot is basically like a mini home repeater. You could have your own king. You could be the king of your own repeater. You know, kind of like King of the Hill. Hint, hint. Anyway, I love that show, King of the Hill. What's that? That's another video for another day. Another video, yeah, that's another video for another day. But you could be the king of your repeater. Have a hotspot. You could do D Star. You could do DMR. I've got mine set right now for DMR and Brandmeister. What's Brandmeister? Well, just another DMR railroad. Okay, it's a railroad for DMR through DMR. It's a network where everybody gets on there and rag chews or has nets or this or that, and it's worldwide. What is TGIF? Same difference. It's just another railroad, kind of like Union Pacific, BNS, BMF. So what I want everybody to do this week or whenever, first off, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'm on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, chris.thornhill.359. Follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/christopher.thornhill.98. I don't use Twitter. Twitter got too annoying for me. I took it off my phone. I don't have it. I haven't had Twitter since my last phone that looked like it got ran over by a semi. Again, that's a story time video. I'll tell you what happened with that. What I want everybody to do this week, go on the A site. You guys know what I'm talking about. The biggest supplier. Everybody uses it. Go on the A site. I can't say it right now because of my speaker. And I want everybody to search. This is your homework assignment. Everybody to search for two ham radios. All right, two different kind of ham radios. Comment below that you've done it. Okay. Okay, I'll say it like this. So go on the AMZ website. amazon.com. I can't say it because my speaker. Do a search for two radios. The two radios I want you to look up are very, very affordable. Look up, actually, no, three. Look up the 5RD, what is it? Belfang, BAOFENG Belfang 5RD5, 5RD5. Look up the GD77 and look up the RT3S, okay, aka MDUV380. Just look them up. Look at their price points. Very, very affordable. All the Belfangs are between 35, depending on what you get. Now, don't get an analog, okay? Get a dual band. Look at a dual band analog and DMR. All right. So that's your homework. Comment below that you've done it. You've been on that site and you've done it. Also, I'm gonna have links below that you can go check out. A guy by the name of Mike KB6NU. I'm going to put his website in there. You can check out how you can take his ham radio course in 3 different levels. I suggest start off with the technician. I'm going to also put in hamradioprep.com, and I'm also going to put in licw.org. Now, what is LICW? It stands for the Long Island CW Club. Okay? I'm going to put in licwclub.org. And what that's going to do, it's going to basically take you to a site where if you're blind and you want to learn about ham radio and you're not licensed, you just fill out a form, let them know that you're totally blind, and you get in for a free lifetime membership. This week, I'm going to get ready to learn some new letters in Morse code. Okay? So, guys, thanks for watching and or listening, and I hope to see you on the air soon on DMR or even D-Star. We can make it work. If your radio comes out of the box and it ain't talking to you, well, we're going to make it work. Guys, take care. Thanks for watching and or listening. This is KC7UDH on the Ham Radio Monday Experience, where everything ham radio goes. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching and or listening.